A beach in West Africa. When the heat of the day has calmed down, people use the time at the end of the day for a walk with the family on the beach. The states of West Africa have had good development opportunities in recent years. The Lion states, like Ghana, are considered to be the most progressive on the continent. The political situation is stable, and the country is also an economic hope for the region. It shows what would be possible on the continent if there were no war and no crises. A growing middle class can afford the comforts of life. The smartphone has long been a part of it and must not be missing to take souvenir photos. Modernity has found its way into Ghana. Media and the internet are a natural part of everyday life. The networking of the world, like almost everywhere else, brings about the idealization of the Western lifestyle, while the old traditional role models, which are mainly cultivated in rural Africa, still stand in contrast. The booming metropolises like Accra also attract many rural residents who hope to get a little of the city's prosperity. However, it is hard to believe that an archaic-looking belief still prevails in this country today, which threatens countless women from everything: the belief in witches. We are on our way inland. Here, not only is the belief in witches widespread, but also the accusation of witchcraft can become life-threatening. For many who are accused of being witches, the only option is to escape from their village, their family. Not a few find refuge in so-called witch villages. We set off for a witch village. No road leads here, only a dusty road. There are no power lines or drinking water. At Gushigu Witch Camp, a village which offers meanwhile 70 women homeland. One of them is the 35-year-old Moseam, who has lived here in the village for 4 months. There are estimates that more people, especially women, have lost their lives in Africa in the last 40 years due to the accusation of witchcraft than during the entire witch persecutions of the European epochs. Women who are persecuted as witches in Ghana are still beaten to death, poisoned, or burned today. Those who managed to escape to a witch village were at least able to save their lives. To get over the separation of women from their families, their children, who often have to grow up as orphans, is the most difficult thing for women like Moseam.
She's now feeling comfortable.
There are now countless of these witch villages in many African countries. Here the people find their first refuge. They have no choice but to accept their fate. Many will never see their family, their children again. From the moment they are expelled, they are no longer mothers, daughters, or wives. they are reduced to the stigma of being a witch. Father Moses is a lecturer in dogmatics at the Philosophical Theological University in St. Augustine. Even growing up in poor conditions in northern Ghana, he knows the problems and causes associated with the belief in witches.
Man braucht Anschuldige. Es kann sein, dass eben eine junge Dame als Hexe dargestellt wird. Und warum? Weil der Ehemann vielleicht früh gestorben ist. Denn man meinte, sie wäre die Schuld daran, sie ist schuld daran. Oder überhaupt danach, der zweite Mann stirbt auch. Dann heißt sie ist Hexe und deswegen hat sie eben die Männer umgebracht. Also, wir verbannen sie.
Father Fanuel, who also teaches anthropology. He has taken up the fight against a superstition that brings so much misfortune, especially to women.
I hate to see people suffer. Vulnerable people suffer. It is very important for me to empower such people, even if they cannot go home, where they are, to make life a little bit comfortable for them, dignify their life there.
If you believe in witchcraft, you will quickly find an answer as to why a misfortune has befallen you or your family. The reason of the evil is named with it, and the cause can be eliminated. It is these familiar thought patterns that lead to the accusation of witchcraft.
Once somebody accuses the person, another woman, or a woman is accused, 50% or 70% you are guilty. You have the onus to prove your innocence, but that is difficult.
They're safe from assault in the village, but their daily lives are hard. They cannot find work, and many are too weak or too old to cultivate their own fields. If it were up to the Ghanaian government, all women should be reintegrated into their community and the witch villages closed. But experience shows that if you send the women back to their villages, they will face accusations and beatings again and flee again if you manage to escape.
Eine Hexe wird denn quasi aus der Gesellschaft ausgeschlossen. Kann nicht normal auf den Markt gehen, einzukaufen. Das heißt, sie müssen ihr eigenes Leben schaffen. Das heißt, Parallelgesellschaft quasi auch schaffen, weil sie sonst nicht überleben können. Okay, und so ein Leben zu haben, führt denn dazu, dass diese Menschen kein erfülltes Leben haben können. Denn sie sind aus der Gesellschaft ausgeschlossen.
But today is a special day in the village. Father Fanuel came and brought other guests with him. There are even guests from Germany, Diviner Word missionaries, who take care of the fate of the women. As it should be, the guests are greeted with dances and songs. A special guest who visits the women today and prays with them is Father Xavier. Personally, he can tell the expelled women in the remote village in Ghana that there are also people in Germany who think of them and who are not indifferent to their fate.
We are all from Germany.
As the leader of the Mission Procure in Germany, he coordinates the help and donations of the German benefactors for the projects of the Order in Africa. Near the village there is a parish of the missionaries, from where the daily help for the women is organized. The missionaries regularly provide the women with clothing, soap and medicine.
So all the best and God bless you.
And they pray together. The rejected women thus experience the feeling of belonging to a community. Besides the material support, the common celebration is probably the strongest sign of solidarity. a solidarity that also connects the women with each other. In the rainy season, the paths to the witch village are flooded. In the dry season, there will be a lack of water. Father Fanuel therefore ordered the construction of a well in the village. He is now the only one in the vicinity who offers drinking water at any time of the year. A project that does not guarantee the supply of drinking water to the women, it makes it possible for the women to make contact with the community again.
When there is dry season and Gushegu town has no water, they come there to fetch water. They come there to fetch water. So you see, yes, this social integration, they get integrated into the community. They are no longer an outcast because the community, general community, also see them as people who can offer them something. They can offer water to them.
The help of the missionaries is existential for the women in Gushegu. But wouldn't the fundamental patterns of thought of African culture and tradition have to change for long-term and sustainable aid?
Aber das braucht Zeit. Wer denn hingeht und versucht, schnell wie möglich die Dinge zu ändern, weil eben in Europa und in der Westenwelt es so und so ist, wird keinen Erfolg haben. Und das ist auch, was wir vermeiden müssen. Nicht die Bilder von Europa oder USA einfach rüber transportieren und sagen, ja, jetzt müsst ihr das so machen, denn bei uns ist das so und so. Wer sagt, dass was hier geschieht, das Beste ist? Okay. Und wenn wir zeigen wollen, dass es das Beste ist, dann geht es nicht um Reden, es geht um Tun. Die Leute wollen sehen, was macht ihr anders als wir? Und warum? Denn Dialog heißt nicht, dass der andere unbedingt das tun muss, was ich tue. Sonst ist es kein Dialog. Ein Dialog heißt, dass der andere versteht, was ich tue oder sage, und ich verstehe, was er tut oder sagt und warum. Denn im Laufe des Tages kommt dann Berührung und dann vielleicht Integration und dann schaffen wir, was wir schaffen können.
The commitment to the witches, the rejected women in Africa, is only just beginning, but it is already showing success. He can remind us in Europe how important it is to strengthen the rights and position of women, to convey a positive image of man that includes all people equally and does not make any group scapegoats.